All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Top Producer Tuesday, February 23rd, 2016. We have a really exciting show today. I just wanted to mention that, we welcome everybody in the state of Florida, every realtor in the state of Florida, and coaches and other real estate partners. We're committed and dedicated to Florida realtors, and we're the destination they go to for real-time and practical coaching skills. So, be prepared to get motivated. Make something positive happen for you today and get inspired to push through to higher levels of success. And as challenging as it is to be a top producing Florida realtor, it's equally rewarding and satisfying. You hold the key to personal victory in this modern real estate age. So buckle up and be prepared to engage and accelerate your success. I wanted to start today out with just some general news. There's a Wallet Hub, which is a real estate news service. They do articles and studies around the United States. They ran one last week that I wanted to bring up. They ran 13 metrics ranging from sales per agent to annual median wages for real estate agents to the housing market health index. Is just some of the metrics. But what was really interesting is they listed the very top cities in America to be a realtor. And on our last show we talked about like how now is the time. Interest rates are low. It's a buyer's market. In a lot of markets, it's still a seller's market where listings can be obtained through excellent salesmanship and realtor skills. But in this particular article, they ranked the top cities in America. Well, what's interesting is almost every major city in Florida was listed in the top 100 cities in the United States. In order, Orlando was the #1 Florida city. Port St. Lucie came in second. Cape Coral third. Tampa, then St. Pete, Tallahassee, Pembroke Pines, and I know Pembroke Pines is a very active market for a number of top producing agents. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, and then Hialeah. Surprisingly, on here was West Palm Beach, Linda, and I found that kind of strange that West Palm wouldn't be there. I mean, you do have Port St. Lucie,
Right.
but West Palm's still an active, strong market. You agree with that?
Yeah, Port St. Lucie has really shown in the past, I'd say 8 months, really shot up. Really shot up.
I know they had a ton of inventory down there at a really good price point. Just kind of like in Orlando, there were so many homes that were just affordable. Um, I also wanted to share with you guys the highest, the most expensive and the most affordable housing markets in Florida, as ranked by a study done by Coldwell Banker's research team. The highest average listing price in all of Florida right now, which actually moved because this used to be in Fort Myers, is Doral, Miami, at a $552,000 average listing price. Then at 525K, Palmetto Bay, Parkland, Fort Lauderdale at 504,000, then Fort Lauderdale at 481, and then Delray Beach at 471. On the opposite end of the spectrum, for average listing price, so from the lower median average pricing, Hastings, Florida came in at 95,000, Palatka, Florida at 123,000, Spring Hill at 137, Citrus Springs at 138, and then right here in our backyard, Sam, is Point Siena, one of the most affordable places in Florida right now at 139. So pretty interesting statistics there. I'd like to introduce our host today. First, we have Linda Schindel. Linda Schindel has been a real estate professional for, I guess, nearly 25 plus years. I've had the pleasure of working with Linda at a publicly traded Florida real estate brokerage, where she continued her career for another 10 years and escalated all the way to regional director of multiple top-performing offices around the state of Florida. Linda Schindel is now a productivity coach for brokers and agents and team leaders around the state of Florida, and we're really excited to have her on board today. How are you, Linda?
Well, thank you.
Welcome aboard. And then our top producer today, who I'm very excited to have, is one of our own, Madi Jaffer, up in the Lake Mary area of Central Florida. Madi's actually he's a very, very dynamic young professional. He's only really been active in the business for the last 3 years. But over those 3 years, he's doubled his business year over year. So we thought it was a really good opportunity for Madi to come on to share with the teams and all of the viewers out there, you know, what it takes, what he did, what he's thinking about, how he organizes his day. You know, before we went live here, I asked him, I said, Madi, what do you got going on today? And like 5 minutes later, he's still rattling off, and then I got to drop keys off here. I got to put another listing in over here. So really exciting to have Madi on. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about what it takes to be a top producer. And then we have our very own Samantha Casco, also our state director of service and manager of sales. She's here to talk about the importance of a platform. You know, I'm the founder of Selectrified, which is a real estate lead acquisition and conversion tool. Sam runs and project manages that. So I think we'll have some really good insight and some common topic matter on the importance and the features of a CRM that need to be used with discipline every day to grow your business. So let's get started with you, Madi. Let's get started with you. You have a really great story out there. You know, I know your story, but why don't you share with the folks out there, kind of like, you know, your transition from a few years ago starting up, and you know, how your first year went and things you might have learned along the way to do different that second year, and kind of progress through how you got to be where you are today, which I know you're doing all kinds of stuff out there.
So when I started, I was just kind of testing the waters in real estate. I got licensed in 2009 while I was still in school, and then in 2010 I was in London, so I really had no opportunity to really produce in Florida. But while I was there, I helped my mom with her first major real estate purchase, which was her home. And even though I was licensed from there, I knew that she was working with an agent locally. So I think this is something that's huge in our industry, is, you know, respect for one another, and it comes around. It's not just karma; it's just, you know, good business ethics that take you a long way. So while I helped her do research on which properties made the most sense, as she narrowed down which homes that fit her best, I advised her, but communicated with her agent, local agent, as to my thoughts on what she was looking at, helped her determine what price to go in at, but let her agent kind of handle, you know, the brokerage side of that deal. And even though I was studying in the LSE, I was still involved in the transaction and still tried to keep abreast with the market in Orlando. So I knew that she was getting a good deal, while I wasn't really there on the ground to help her out. And then as I finished up LSE, I moved to New York, and I would come here every 2 weeks or so to try and get a little bit of real estate in, a little bit of experience, as I shadowed a large broker in downtown Orlando. This is before I changed jobs. I was working for a family-owned company, and it was good because I got the experience working under, you know, a very heavy hitter, shadowing his moves and understanding why he was so great at what he did. I mean, this guy went to UCF and was driving Ferraris, Bentleys, and like all sorts of ridiculous cars. Had a house coming up in Isleworth, the same neighborhood as Tiger Woods. So I was trying to figure out what made him so great, and then I basically tried to mimic that behavior. I noticed that he didn't really sleep much. He worked. He researched stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I started to research stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nice. Hey, Madi, let me interrupt you real quick there. To double check your audio connection, because it's really coming in muffled. Are you getting the same thing, Sam, Linda?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, Madi, I'm not sure why it's coming in muffled, but let me hear you again.
What was that?
Let me. Go ahead. Continue.
Is it any better now or no? Maybe I was too far away from the mic.
I think it sounds like maybe it's it's coming in muffled. I don't think it's the mic. I think it might be something. Maybe unplug it or plug it back in or something like that. I'm not sure.
Let me see. I don't have an external mic that's attached. I just have I can go to microphone setup in the system settings and try and work it out.
While you're doing that, Marty, go ahead and take a look at the. I want to come back to you, Marty, and pick up. We really want to get some clear audio though with you, so give you a second to work on that. So hey, Linda.
Yeah.
So tell us about your new. Tell us about what made you step out from like a regional leadership role and now into helping out. You know, guys like Marty and other top producers that are looking to go to another level in a coaching capacity.
Okay. I've been doing real estate since my early 20s and been in different aspects, owned businesses, property management, vacation homes, commercial, dabbled in a lot of things. However, being at the company for 10 years and moving up, I really learned and focused on, and needed to focus on what did I really like about this business. I love the real estate business. Obviously, I've been in it for years. My dad always said, once you make me get my real estate license, you'll have that forever, and you can fall back on it. And the key thing that I decided in the last few months is what I really, really enjoy doing, I'm really good at, and is coaching agents. That's the part I like, and I relate to the agents, and that's one of the reasons why I started the company.
Yeah, I can recall many times, like Marty was saying a minute ago, where we would be working till what, midnight some nights, helping agents, calling them, and doing really anything we could to help them break through their confidence barrier, which is usually what we found. You know, it's one of the things that I've seen working with so many agents for such a long time is, believe it or not, a simple confidence breakdown can really affect someone's attitude and ability to be successful in this business. Marty, do you ever have had a confidence problem in this business or no?
No.
No, I didn't think so. And that's why I think it's a key point to the agents that, you know, I know Linda has seen, that I've seen, that tend to be consistent and continue to grow and continue to learn and grow their production, is they're really not scared to talk to people, and they really have an attitude of service, and that takes confidence. You know, you can't hide behind a computer, and no matter how good your platform is, and expect to do well in real estate without shaking hands every day and meeting new people. So, Marty, let me let you pick up where you left off here. Hopefully, you got some better audio.
I don't think I managed to change the settings, but I guess get a little closer to the mic. Hopefully, you'll hear me better.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I basically shadowed a top producer when I first entered the business. I wasn't actively doing any transactions, but just learning behaviors. Really, attending meetings, just listening, and then I started doing my first transactions, I'd say in 2012 or 2013. And when I started, I was licensed by the same downtown group, had an affiliate office in Windermere, so I started working there, and I put a bunch of time in. I used to drive from Lake Mary to Windermere daily, like an hour in, hour out. I would get in by like 8 a.m. I was in the office and stay till 6 p.m. And just really hustle hard. But that first year was like a huge learning curve for me, because it was I'd mimicked or tried to mimic my mentor at the time, Bobby. But it was different when you're sitting on a transaction, you don't really know which ones to chase and which ones to kind of let go. So I pretty much chased after everything. I used to come in on Saturday and Sunday when we literally had zero activity, because it was a brand new Remax office in Windermere, because the location was phenomenal. But we literally didn't have a single walk-in, but I stayed there. I stayed Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 12 hours a day, waiting for someone to walk in the door. And while I waited, I did research. Um, I
Nice.
transitioned that into my first year. I think I only made $20,000 in commissions, literally, and I didn't get to keep all of it either because I was working for a for a firm. So I didn't pocket much. I wasn't getting rich off of it, but I learned, in my first year, I literally put in over 500 contracts because I was working with investors, and I didn't know better at the time that when there's a short sale, you shouldn't offer $20,000 below list, even if you are cash.
Right.
So I learned by trial and error, and just by continuing to put more and more effort in, like reading articles online and noticing the responses I was getting from the agents I was working with.
Well, so Marty, your audio is much clearer. So I don't know what you did. You really fixed it well. Thank you. So Marty, let me ask you. So that was the first year. So the first year, you were, you did whatever it took. You thought you were in the right place. You were showing up. At least you were showing up to work every day. You were there. You were present. Um, Started getting involved in shadowing a mentor, right? Shadowing, a coach or a mentor, your partner, your colleague. Putting in contracts for the short sales, but all of that work, all those hours, just not. So what clicked? What did you do? What happened next? Like, what did you learn? What light bulb went off?
So one of the first things I remember doing when the light bulb clicked was I never threw away any of my contracts. So I actually used to print them out. Now everything's online and you just save it on your computer and shoot it out. But I used to print all my contracts. So I'd have like 11 pages sitting on the floor, and I had a stack from the floor to a conference table high of contracts. And I took a picture of it because at the end of my first year, or when I started doing in my second year of business, I started actually doing real transactions. I was like, wow, I spent this much time pretty much wasting my time, and I'll never do this again. But if anyone wanted advice and when they enter the real estate business, and I've given this advice to multiple realtors who have now successfully joined the real estate industry as brokers or as agents, don't give up off the bat just because things aren't coming together. They're not supposed to, unless you really have 10 to 15 real sellers or real buyers in hand. And even if you do, there's no guarantee that you'll get a deal done. But don't give up. But by the second year, I kind of figured out which things worked and which things didn't. I realized that wasting my time doing offers for the big investors who were cash but were cheap on the buys didn't really make a lot of sense. So I started kind of chasing after people who were more realistic with their purchases. Started realizing that leverage is my friend. I should go after traditional home buyers in addition to just strictly investors, because the company I started working with was all about investment real estate, investment brokerage. And I said, let me try and transition out of just investment and do traditional home sale as well.
Well, you did. You certainly did a good job. I think that's when we crossed paths. I think right around your second year, and your the production was not only consistent, but you learned so much, and you were still working with investors too. You didn't back away completely. You still have some investors out there. I know you're working on, and your price points have also gone up. Also, so now you transition into your third year, and into 2015 last year. And what would you say would what are your strengths? Like, what is it that you're leaning on to look forward to a great 2016?
I guess just putting in practice a couple of things that I learned along the way. So I went to school for finance. So even though my first year I was discouraged by some of the investors I had, I didn't let go of investment real estate because I knew that, in all honesty, till today, Florida real estate is great for investment. As a safe product, you're holding a fixed asset. It's not as liquid as a stock, obviously, but there's a lot less risk. You're getting higher returns here than you would get in New York, Toronto, London, Beijing. I went to property shows in China just to get an understanding of what the market really was about. And I noticed that we really have a great opportunity here in Florida, so I didn't want to let go of the investment side. I went to school for finance and said, I didn't get to put this degree into practice from the standpoint of doing portfolio analysis or working with hedge funds like some of my friends. But I will put my understanding of leverage at the minimum into good use here in Florida real estate, and realizing that when you use leverage, your ROI or your cap rates or your overall returns tremendously increase. So that part of the business was based on the schooling and the tutelage I got in Boston and London. But then the practices I think that are really important is I literally sometimes don't sleep more than 3 or 4 hours a night. I may wake up at 6 a.m. and I'll be working till 2 a.m. And I'm completely cool with it because I want to make sure that I'm always there for my clients. I never want to miss a call, and if I do, I want to make sure that they know that I'm always there for them. So it doesn't matter if I'm traveling and I do none of it. If I'm in Dubai, I still take your call. It doesn't matter that it costs me $5 a minute. I'm gonna take your call because you need to know that I'm there for you, and it's great because when I'm out of town, I don't have to worry that my buyers or my sellers feel like their hands aren't held. The larger investors don't really need that, but they do like the idea that you stay in touch, and it's really important to follow up. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give. Work really hard. It's not easy, but if you put in the hours and you put in the effort, you're gonna do great. Not good, you'll do great.
Lynn, any thoughts on that?
He's really, to me, if he came into my office, he has everything going for him. He's committed, and he knows what he wants, and he's willing to work hard. So for me, hearing him, he'd be like the perfect person that I would hire for my real estate company.
Yep. And Madi, we actually a couple of shows ago we talked about exactly what you just said. One of the main things that consumers have identified in realtors that give us a bad reputation is the poor lack of follow-up and not doing what they commit themselves to do or say they're going to do. They'll commit to getting back to you by 5 with a CMA on a property on the buy side, for example. Well, that's Monday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, by Tuesday at noon, the client still hasn't heard from the agent. You know, the agent's going to have a good excuse. It always, I got tied up here. Another client kept me away over there. My showing went too long. I had a buyer come in from, but the consumer, your customer, they don't care. They're there to be serviced by a professional. They expect professionalism and follow-up and follow-through. And Madi, I would attribute, I bet you a good amount of your success has been because you don't let anybody slip through the cracks. Where is most of your business coming from now, Madi? Like, where do you see your latest referrals or your latest deals and your future deals coming from now?
So I get some from online marketing work. I get some from you guys, thank you.
Yep.
And I get some from my friends and family and spheres of influence, especially the previous clients that I had. They refer me, and then the reviews I get from them are raving, which is great, and I do solicit them. I do ask for reviews, but more than that, I think when you review me, be honest. But if you love me, then tell your friends.
Yes, exactly. And what do you do? So that's a really good point. The reviews are your testimonials of success, right? I mean, and if they're used properly and you post them in the proper places, they'll never go away. Where do you do with those? Do you just put them in your marketing material in your listing kit, or do you have online profiles that you actually post them on?
I have online profiles. I also include them when I first reach out to new contacts. I include a link that kind of gives them an indication of what I do and what people have said about me. I recently got a client out of California, originally from Mongolia. Recently been living in California and just heard about real estate in Orlando being good. Found my review, read it, loved it, signed a buyer brokerage agreement immediately with me. Bought 3 condos before she even showed up in Orlando. Now,
wow.
On yesterday, she just closed on the house. That's the key I told you I have to go pick up after this.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. So.
Very nice. So you're saying that is an example of someone who saw a review, they saw what another customer posted, they liked you for that, and they engaged you without even meeting you first.
Correct. And I think the reviews that you get should be honest. And the thing is, when you go that extra mile, people do appreciate it. So a lot of agents just want to do the basic. I'll meet you, sign the contract, and that's it. Let the title company handle the rest. No follow-up, no update. If they want a second showing, it's like they have to, pull teeth. That's not fair. They're your client or your principal, so you should be taking care of their needs. And when you go that extra mile, or you show that you're willing to do that extra effort, or take a call past 5 p.m., because there's plenty of agents that say, don't call me after 5 p.m. You can call me in the morning if you'd like. And when I take that call, sometimes I literally have taken a call at midnight. Those people don't forget it. They love it, and they'll rave to their friends that this is the only person I can talk to who looks out for my best interests and is willing to take my call middle of the day, middle of the night. And they appreciate that, and then they tell their friends about it, and that's great.
That's really phenomenal advice to everybody listening out there. I hope you're taking a cue from Madi here that you're hearing a work ethic and a passion and a commitment to the customer service that's required to maintain loyal customers for life. Just a few shows ago, Larry was talking about that exact tendency for realtors out there to make it a transaction-based relationship. Well, I think what Madi's clearly saying is if you make them a lifelong committed relationship, not just a transaction, your loyalty factor, your integrity and trust factor with your clients is gonna just continue to go up, and they will refer you next time because you did go the extra mile, like you're saying, Madi. I really commend you. I know you're going to have a fantastic 2016 this year. Any final anything else you would want to share with anybody out there about any secrets to success? Or I know you won't give your secret sauce away, but anything at all that really important for someone in the business looking to aspire to double their business this year. Not give up. Deep relationships, work hard, be on time, show up to work. Any final words?
I think it's really important to know the market you're in, know the inventory. Don't get surprised about a house because your client tells you about a house. You know what I mean? Like if someone says, hey, there's this property in Lake Mary, you kind of should know. If that's your major market, you kind of should know about it before they mention it. Like I get email alerts on my cell phone for literally every listing that comes up in my price range that meets the criteria of over 30 buyers. I get BCC'd on their email and I actually look and see, okay, this is up. Let me get an idea of what this is. Let me take a look at some of the pictures. Let me get an idea of where it is. Let me see if it's a good investment play so I can try and siphon this off to 5 different investors, or if this is a good play for 6 different people who are looking for a home in this price point. It's really important to know the numbers and know the inventory. A lot of my focus is investment, so it's important for me in particular to know, well, this is a 5 cap, but it has a great long-term outlook because of the area it is, the appreciation side of it. So like the return on investment is a factor of 2 things. You have cap rate, which is rent minus the expenses, divided by your purchase price, so it gives you your yield. And then you also have the purchase price you bought it at and what it will be worth a year from now, and that's your appreciation. So ROI is made up of cap rate and appreciation. It's important to understand and be able to explain to educate your investors or traditional buyers that, when you're looking at this, here's the other factors at play. You give them positives, you give them negatives, and when they know that you have that breadth of information, they love you for it. And even after they buy, they'll still ask more about the same thing. They want to be reassured. There's no buyer's remorse. This isn't buying a Lexus and walking out of the dealership and thinking you don't want it. You're spending a good amount of money. So it's important to educate them substantially before they get in the transaction, be there for them during the transaction, and help them with anything they need after the transaction. But knowing what's available and all the factors involved in a particular property is really important, I think.
Yeah, and I think you clearly demonstrated you have that skill set too. I almost felt like I was back in real estate continuing education class there for a minute. ROI divided by cap rate. No, but critical for working with investors, obviously. And Madi, you keep up the good work. You're more than welcome to stay on the show, and I want to thank you for joining us. If you have to run, we understand. If you would like to stay and hang out, you're more than welcome. Um, thanks again, Marty.
No, thank you. I do actually have to run, but I do appreciate you bringing me on the show.
No problem. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much.
You got it. So, so Sam, one of the things that Linda talks about is utilizing their systems to on a daily basis, and effectively mastering the automation tools and the things that it does to convert relationships and to communicate in bulk to contacts. And when Linda's an expert on CRMs, as are you. Can you kind of run through, Sam, on what you see as like the highlights of the platform? And I think today you'll be demonstrating or talking about the Selectrified platform. There's a lot of options out there. I know that. I know we strive to be the most economical, fully featured one out there. If anybody would like to test drive it, you can visit selectrified.com or contact any one of us here at floridarealtorradio@gmail.com at any time. But Sam, so you've been doing this for quite some time, and you're a real pro at it. What would you share with the teams out there that are listening to really maximize their success using any platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been working on this Selectrified system for almost 2 years now, I think, and one of the things that I definitely see is how important it is in any real estate agent's career is to have a structure on a daily basis, and that's what a CRM helps a realtor have, is that structure where they're able to go into the system and really have laid out before them what they have to do on a daily basis. Now, of course, with any CRM, it takes a little bit of setup, anywhere from setting up the regular emails that you'll be sending, setting up the drip campaigns that will allow you to stay in touch with your clients, not only your current clients, but past clients as well. That's one of the things that Marty mentioned, is a lot of his business comes from past clients, and that's one thing that the CRM allows you to do, is also stay in touch with those people that you have already successfully dealt with, or that maybe you're still getting them to that point. So it is definitely, it's like a personal assistant that you get to program. You get to program how it's going to work for you. So it definitely allows you to be a lot more efficient and effective with your time. So a couple of little different details that CRMs have, and definitely I'll be focusing on Selectrified. I think one of the other things that Marty mentioned as well is how much research he did initially in his real estate career. And of course, we have to educate ourselves on the market and in general, but one of the things that the CRM allows you to do is really educate yourself on what your clients want, because you're able to see their activity, you're able to see what properties they're looking at. Sometimes we ask our clients, well, what kind of house are you looking at? Are you looking for this, that? And sometimes they'll give you a general idea, but then when you have them as your client and you see their activity, you look at what properties they're looking at, it allows you to have a better understanding of what they want and what they're specifically looking into. So that goes into having that knowledge and having that extra little bit of research. One of the things that CRMs have as well is we can set them up for our clients to get properties from us on a regular basis. So on a daily basis, we set them up for their search criteria. And whenever a new property comes on the market that fits their criteria, they get to see it. And one thing that Marty mentioned as well that caught my attention is how much he looks at those properties so that he knows beforehand what properties his clients are looking for. That's something that the CRM allows you to do, because there's a section that shows you exactly what properties have been sent to each client, to where a realtor can go in there, look at those properties, and then know before they're even contacted what they're going to be discussing with their client according to what they have received. And then, of course, in Selectrified, there's little details that let you know how active your clients are, and that allows you to know how in touch you're going to be with them personally. So what I mean by that is, of course, we have drip plans, which drip plans are amazing. They allow us to constantly be sending information to our clients, to constantly be asking them questions, making sure they're being serviced correctly. And it's going to be, we have different drip plans according to where in the buying or selling stage they are. But also in our lead center, at least in Selectrified, you're able to see how that's affecting our clients. If those drip plans are bringing them back to the platform, if we're getting feedback from them. So it's definitely a very useful tool in that sense. But then, of course, as we keep in touch with our clients, we get to schedule when we're going to contact them personally, and not only through a drip plan, because of course we do want to have that phone call. So according to the activity, we're really able to see when we need to make that next phone call, when we need to reach out to them in a personal email. And another really great feature is the notifications feature. So this happened, I have a personal story when it comes to Selectrified. I had a client that when I started with Advanta and Selectrified, I had reached out to this person, and I had spoken to them a couple of times, but after a while it was going to take some time for them to make a final decision. I kept them on a drip plan. I kept them on our e-alerts where they were regularly getting e-alerts from me, properties from me. And then they contacted me after months of me being in front of them through the system doing the job for me. So they contacted me when they were ready to go, and it was a lot way before they had planned to do so. So the system, in that sense, did a lot of the work for me because they kept properties, it kept sending them properties, and then when the client was ready, they definitely were reaching out to me without me having to do much than calling them a few times here and there.
Nice.
And then in the lead center as well, you get to categorize, so you get to know really where in the buying stage or selling stage your clients are. You can categorize them according to their buying in the next couple of months, or we know that they're going to be buying maybe in a year, but they're there and we're able to see it, and we can program the system to tell us when it is that we decided that we're going to call them next. And I think that that is probably one of the most useful tools. You were just talking about it, Reggie, how realtors, sometimes we fail to follow up, or we forget, or we get busy, and the truth is we deal with so many different clients that it can become overwhelming. So a CRM is absolutely perfect for that, because every time you log in, it tells you exactly how many calls you told yourself in the last month that you were going to make that day. So you can make those calls that day and then reschedule them if you have to call them again. But logging in, as you mentioned that Linda had said, every single day and keeping up to date with that list is what's going to allow you to build that structure in your career. It's going to allow you to know exactly who you're going to be talking to that day, when to follow up with that person, what they're doing, and it really just helps you keep track of all of your clients and keep track of the relationships that you're building with them.
Hey Sam, you said so many really important key things there, and Linda, if you have some thoughts on it too, but you started, I can tell you this. I've seen, when you mention a CRM or a platform, for certain realtors, like middle-aged or older, that were not born with the internet, not knowing what the internet was not to have, what it was like not to have the internet in your life. You tend to hear, when you hear platform and CRM, you tend to hear technology. Well, the thing I think that Sam is really doing a good job pointing out here is that once you configure it once to work for you on your behalf, the system does the communication and keeping you in front of the clients, keeping e-alerts with MLS listings active. It automates the client behavioral tracking and scoring, so you know who, like Sam was saying, who's important to talk to today, who's logged back in the last 24 hours, how many times they've logged in, which properties they've looked at. And it might sound really technical and complicated, but I mean, Sam, it's pretty simple, right? I mean, I mean, how could you describe how hard it would be for an agent to say set up their, if they had 100 people in their platform, how long would it take them to get a drip campaign and an e-alert set up?
It really takes no more than a minute to set up an e-alert. The drip campaigns and the emails, at first, when you're first getting introduced to a CRM, it takes a little bit more time to personalize it, but the great thing is we already offer pre-written drip plans that you can use them exactly as they are, and they are incredibly effective. But if you want to personalize them a little bit more, then you would take a little bit of extra time to sit down and add more information about you personally. But really setting them up, assigning it to somebody, it takes no more than a minute or 30 seconds to assign it to one of the clients. So
Cool.
it's pretty quick.
I think it's pretty clear. The point really is just make sure you have a system. Make sure you have a CRM that works. They are a little bit of an out-of-pocket. The days of using Microsoft Excel and a legal pad to manage your client base, it's just unrealistic, and it's the surest way you can possibly set yourself up for failure. It's the surest way to forget tasks. If it's not in a calendar, if you don't have a task, a calendar, a to-do list, your clients in a database where you can click a button and send them an email or respond back to an email, it really becomes overwhelming in a very short period of time if you're an active agent meeting 2 to 3 new people a day. Even 5 or 10 a week is 50 plus a month. So if you think about the importance of this, it's well worth a small personal investment for a CRM that really manages the bulk of your time-consuming activities, which is staying on top of and in front of your clients with the information that they need. Linda, I know you're a big advocate of systems also. From success stories, Linda, or from a perspective of an agent that's really trying to aspire into a consistency of a deal or two a month, what have you seen utilizing CRM platforms and technology out there for them to help get there is done? Have you seen like a specific utilization style, or is it just those who do it tend to do better?
First of all, I believe in a CRM system. There are a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of systems out there, but you need to really focus on what you particularly want to do and how you want to accomplish it. I've seen the best of the best. I've seen yours. I've seen others. And the ability, if I had this back in 25 years ago when I was starting out in real estate, I can't even imagine where I would be, and probably wouldn't be sitting here, probably retired at an early age. But they really need to understand that when you're first starting out in a business, there's certain things that you do need. And in this age of real estate, it's all about technology. People are coming in and into states, into counties, into cities because of jobs, relocating, retirement. They're not staying in the same place for a long period of time. So you need a CRM system. You really need leads. You need to be able to manage those leads, and it's very important. You need to have and develop your own scripts, which in time will help you in time utilizing the scripts that are out there, being more direct, and keeping track of your day. There's no way that you cannot at least double what you're doing. If you're doing 2 deals a month and you bring in a CRM system, there is just no possible way, unless you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you can double that. And keep doubling that. I've seen it. I've seen it happen in the different places that I've worked, and there's nothing more to say about it. You need to have a CRM system. You need, period. And you need leads.
So Linda, you're a professional productivity coach. I know one of the things that have made you successful that I've witnessed in the past is the way that you hold agents accountable to themselves. And not just being a boss of theirs, but actually teaching them how to set up ways to hold themselves accountable. I'm curious, if I was an aspiring agent and I'm watching the live cast right now, and you know, and you're an available coach out there that can help me, how would you explain and step through with me how you handle that process of introducing yourself to a new agent as a coach, and then what you would take them through over the course of what period of time?
Okay, first of all, you have to, what I do, I've always done it, I ask a lot of questions, and that's something that I've learned from a long time ago. On any particular subject or people that you're looking to help, you need to ask a lot of questions. How much time do they want to spend working in real estate? What is their life about? Do they have children? Do they have organizations that they belong to? Everybody has their life going on besides their work life. So how do we integrate that in there?
Right.
How powerful are they? Are they shy, a little bit shy? Are they willing to make a commitment and listen, ask the questions, have no fear, jump in, and just do what you need to really do to be successful? The funny thing is that most people know what it takes to be successful, but they're afraid of it. They're afraid of it, and one of the things that they're afraid of is not asking the questions that they need to ask. They feel like they're not entitled to those answers. As a real estate professional, you need to be able to ask these questions in such a way where you don't feel that you're imposing or being nosy. But realistically, you have to be nosy. It's a conversation that you're having with people, and you're having it with your clients, your buyers, your sellers, your brokers, anyone that you need to ask a question to get to another level to understand. You have to be able to ask that question, and don't be afraid of it. You're going to go through it, and if you're earning kind of while you're learning, that's the best way to go. You're putting everything out there, and you're able to implement the things that you need to. Another key factor is you can have every single toy in your toolbox. You can have such a toy box full of CRMs, you can have this, you can have that, you're doing advertising, you're doing social media, but you have to concentrate and implement the important things. Forget about the other things for a while, because you have to implement your basic real estate direction. And that's what I try and help people do. I can give you an example of someone that we both know. I'm not going to use last names, but, and maybe I should, because she's amazing. There was a young agent that came on board probably back in 2006 who did not speak English very, very well, but she was insistent on getting her questions answered. And if she had to sit there for 3 hours, she was going to ask you. And she just called and called and called. After 7, 8 years, this girl is a top producer in the South Florida market.
Are you talking about Audrey?
Yes, I am. And she is amazing.
I just saw she just won another annual award, not just as a top producer, but as a top team leader for a group of agents, which, Linda, what do you think about that? One of the things that Larry was talking about on one of the previous shows was that to really hone your skills. I mean, when you're good, you start out as a rookie, you work your way up, you learn, like Marty was saying. He's kind of still working his way up. He's not the pinnacle of top production yet, but he's on his path to that. One of the things that Larry was saying, Linda, is to really hone your skills and to become a really super pro realtor. It actually would greatly benefit you to be a coach for somebody, to be a team leader for somebody. What do you think about that? To grow a team, is there a certain time it should be done, or is it when the confidence is at the right spot, or what do you think?
I think it's just where you are in your career. When you're really out there and you're selling. Years ago when I was selling, if someone came to me and said, "Oh, can I be part of your team?" can you be my mentor? I would have said no. You know, I was having too much fun. I'm making my money. When the opportunity is there for you to make your money and you're still honing your skills and you're still out there and you're having fun and people are relating to you and you have that mojo in you, you keep going. Don't lose that. Don't change direction when something is going really, really well, especially in the real estate market.
Good point.
You're on your game and you need to stay on your game. So don't make any major, just keep going until you feel that you have to make a shift because the market has shifted. Maybe you're, you know, tired of doing this, or maybe this is what you want to do. But when you get into real estate, number one thing, there's two number one things in my book. It's asking a lot of questions, and that's, like I said, just not to the client or it's to your broker. It's getting the answers that you need to conduct yourself in real estate, and you cannot let up on that. On the other side, you have to have people that are willing to answer your questions and be willing to be there to walk you through. Instead of you being in a class for like 6 hours learning about contract training, read the contract. You've been through real estate school, you've gotten your license, read the contract. If you have questions, ask. It's more or less get out there, jump in with both feet, have somebody there that's going to guide you through maybe some negotiation. The third alternative, there's different alternatives that, and you know, for one, I was in charge when we first started out on cancellations. I would not accept cancellations. There's not anything that any of the agents could have said to me that I wouldn't say there's some other way to keep this deal together. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times we were pretty successful in doing that.
No, you were fantastic always saving those deals, Linda. That was and agents loved you for it, and you know, I'm sure.
I really love doing it, and just so I get this other point in is the accountability factor. Either you're the type of person that can hold yourself accountable, which is sort of rare. You know, you always need somebody that's going to push you. In my case, it was my dad, because I was young and pretty young getting into this business 20 years or 30 years ago. And I just did as he said. And I really couldn't question him because I think you probably know my dad, and I told that story 100 million times. But he kept me on track. And when life happens, when situations happen, you lose your mojo, you lose your sense of where am I doing? It was working well 2 months ago, it's not working well now. What do I need to do? You need somebody that you can trust that's going to tell you the truth, maybe give you a little, you know, tap on the back of your head saying, hey, okay, we get this, but you still have to make a living. Let's put this in perspective. And that's really what I'm excited about doing, and I feel I'm good at, and I'm totally excited and happy of the direction, and I hope I can help a lot of people.
I'm certain you will, and I'm a testament to personally observing your success with agents, especially agents who had every bit of attitude, positive attitude, and the right mental mindset to get out there. They just needed some assistance, some guidance, coaching, and some direction. And then once they started down the road, like you're saying, a consistent, friendly form of accountability, not an I gotcha, you know, not a spanking, but a motivating accountability, one that encourages to look at the successes, even if they're small successes, because over a little bit of time, you know, it's that 1 degree principle. It might seem like a small little improvement today, but you practice that over the course of months, and it starts growing into a very large wave of success and consistency. And it takes discipline. And Linda, I think you're already a fantastic coach. If anybody out there would like to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
Right now they can call me day or night. You know me with my phone, and I have a perfect phone number, 407-733-3500. I'm right in the midst, literally, of starting this company, but I still help a lot of realtors that I've known over the years. I'm always getting phone calls. I'm setting up my pages, but I'm ready to start with anyone because I've been doing this so long. So anybody's free to call me to discuss what they want to do, what they're looking for, and just ask questions. I'm right there to, anybody can call me to discuss real estate. I love to discuss real estate. I love to discuss what they're doing, how they're doing it, and help them in any way I can.
You can also reach Linda at Linda M, as in Mary, Schindele, SCHINDELE @gmail.com. Linda, we'll finish on this. I just would be curious to know from your point of view, if there was someone watching right now and they were like, I want to know, just give me one thing I can do today or for this week to focus on that really would affect my business. It would increase my pipeline or generate some more prospects or maybe acquire a new listing. What would you suggest they do today differently than they did yesterday? What should they do?
Hold themselves accountable to a certain amount of time a day, and do it every single day.
You mean prospecting?
Yep.
Yeah.
They need to prospect. They need to prospect, and they need to, even though that they have 5 appointments that day, do it at night. It has to be consistent.
Yep. One of the things that we see is agents who, they get busy, and like you said, they might have some appointments today or even a deal in the works to close, let's say next week or the week after. So they're kind of looking forward down the road to some income coming in or some consistency in the income. Even Marty said it earlier. You never know what deals are going to happen and not happen, who's going to come through, not come through. So what happens is it's a porpoise effect, where the agents, it's best to be consistent, not too high, not too low, with regards to prospecting or your attitude. It goes hand in hand, but a continued steady state of prospecting can hedge against the slow times and bring you to higher levels of success in the fast times. And without prospecting, what's funny is you'll look back on some agents and you'll tell them, if you don't prospect 1 to 2 hours a day over the course of 2 weeks, you've lost 10, 20 hours of prospecting time in however many hands that means or relationships that means you could have met. So they close the deal and they're all excited, but then they turn around the next day after their celebration dinner and they look in their platform and there's nothing in the pipeline.
That's part of accountability that you either have to be able to do, or for a certain period of time you need to have somebody hold you accountable, whether it be your broker, and I know the way real estate is set up right now, sometimes your broker doesn't have the time and there's a lot of things going on, but you need to be able to have that person to call. And, like I said before, anybody can have the perfect plan, but if you do not implement it, it's really worth nothing. So,
yeah, and then it starts deflating your confidence, and a lack of performance and consistency on execution of a business plan is another big reason why some great potential agents just never reach their maximum potential. And you really do need a accountability partner with that. I was watching a top producer on YouTube the other day. And at the end of the show, they kind of asked the same thing, like, what would you say would be a word of wisdom to those listening? And she said that if you look hard enough, you're going to find a Linda Schindele out there, or you're going to find a brokerage like that's going to give you support, or keep looking until you find that mastermind group that works for the way you like to work in your lifestyle, that are like-minded and similar in maybe geography, location, or experience, but is a positive framework for you. It's now I don't want to say a mentor or even coach, but at least have a mindshare partner who not necessarily even needs to be a realtor, although would be better. That way you could start the formulation of a team. But if you look long enough out there, you're going to find the right one. I can tell you Linda's a good start for those of you that are looking for someone to hold you accountable. I want to thank Sam for your presentation today, and Brian Hoylman was on the show, but we couldn't get his audio. He was having tech difficulties. He'll be on next week. And then, of course, Linda, thank you very much for your time today. I hope to see you on another show again in the future. So thank you, everybody. That's this week's episode of Top Producer Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Get out there and sell something. Bye now.
Okay.
Thank you.